Hello, welcome to Pro Mixing and Mastering. Today I have another tutorial video for you, and in this video I'm gonna show you how to use dynamic EQ. Now, dynamic EQ is different from just an ordinary EQ. For example, with an ordinary EQ, once you EQ this, let's say, let me play this.
You got the keys to my heart and I have yours.
Now, this is just ordinary EQ, where you EQ one portion and the entire vocal gets affected, or the entire instrument gets affected. Now, with dynamic EQ, like, now I'm gonna pick a dynamic EQ from FabFilter, which is FabFilter Pro Q3. You can download it from FabFilter, and I'm gonna set this to 30 dB. This type of EQ can do dynamic EQ and also ordinary EQ. Now, let's say I wanna cut the low. First, we are going to cut the low. So the first thing you have to do is cut the low. Go to shape and then go to low cut, and then take this to let me take it to 24, somewhere there. So this is how I'm gonna cut. I'm gonna cut in 3 places, and most professionals use this. It's different from the other tutorial video that I did on the ordinary EQ, where you just cut the unwanted frequencies until you no longer can search for them anymore. But for this one, it's different because it does it dynamically, and this is what I mean. Let me play without it.
You got the keys to my heart and I have yours. The only one who knows the password is you.
So we have cut a little bit of the low. We have removed that low dirt, which our ordinary ears cannot hear. Now I'm gonna do it dynamically. I want this area to 200 area, this area of about 200 to be EQ'd dynamically. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just get this and bring it down here to about 3.47 dB there.
You got the keys to my heart and I have yours.
Now, as you can listen, it's EQ'd, but I don't want it to just be consistently. I want it to engage in and off. So how do you make that happen? By using a dynamic EQ. And then how do you do it? You just come on the knob right here, and then go to this, open it up, and then to go to make dynamic, just like that. Now watch what is gonna happen. This is gonna start dancing in and out, in and out. It's not gonna be consistent like throughout. It's gonna be dancing. Whenever this type of frequency is detected, it is going to more like compress it or work on it. Watch this.
You got the keys to my heart and I have yours. The only one who knows the password is you. We have created our own world, but nothing else matters. You pray for me and that's what makes me strong.
So as you can see, it keeps coming in and out, and basically this is what dynamic EQ does. It's one of the best ways you can EQ your vocals, by using a dynamic EQ, because it's not gonna cut throughout the vocal. It's gonna let the vocal breathe a little bit and then engage whenever that particular frequency is detected. Then it's gonna engage whenever that particular frequency which you don't like is detected. What dynamic EQ does is that it engages and just removes it. Then I'm gonna search for another one like this one.
You got the keys to my heart and I have yours.
I don't want this frequency, so I'm just gonna drop it down to around negative 3.06. Then I'm gonna come to my opener there. Then I'm gonna say make dynamic, so that whenever this frequency, unwanted frequency, is detected by the dynamic EQ, immediately it will capture it and then work on it.
You got the keys to my heart and I have yours.
Watch what is happening to the two places that I just cut.
You got the keys to my heart and I have yours.
The next, number 3, which is the last one, I'm just gonna raise up this one. I'm gonna the high shelf, I'm gonna raise it up a little bit and just put it around 6 dB, and then I'm also gonna make it dynamic so that it doesn't consistently, continue, but it is gonna be, engaging. Whenever the dynamic EQ notices that the vocal is a little bit higher, it's not gonna engage. Whenever the dynamic EQ notices that the vocal is not really, doesn't have that sheen, it will engage. So this is one of the good things I love about the dynamic EQ. Watch this.
You got the keys to my heart and I have yours.
So as you can see, there are certain parts where the vocal has its own natural high shelf, if I can put it in that way. And when the dynamic EQ picks that, it's not gonna engage. But whenever the vocal sounds a little bit down, where it lacks that presence, the dynamic EQ is gonna engage and put some presence to that vocal, which has to that part. I mean, the part that has no presence, the dynamic EQ is gonna engage and just pull out that presence. Watch this.
You got the keys to my heart and I have yours. The only one who knows the password is you.
So let's say I don't want this, I can just cancel it and just leave these 1, 2, and 3, and it still does the work. I can even do more to my just making it more, bringing back some lost body, just like that.
You got the keys to my heart and I have yours. The only one who knows the password.
I can also do the same thing to the bass by just lifting up to about just a little bit of the bass in this area, about 50, and then I'm gonna make it dynamic as well.
You got the keys to my heart and I have yours. The only one who knows the password is you. We have created our own world, but nothing else matters.
As you can see, this area right there, the bass is engaging. Whenever the vocal lacks that body, the dynamic EQ is gonna bring it back. But whenever the vocal is naturally has the body, the dynamic is not gonna engage. If you ask me which one is the best between the ordinary EQ and a dynamic EQ, I'd say they both work differently. They both have their own special, like the ordinary EQ where you just cut and then it affects the entire vocal or the entire instrumental. With the dynamic EQ, it is more like a command. I want you to work here, and whenever this particular frequency is detected, I want you to cut it or I want you to boost it. So with the ordinary EQ, it just consistently just cuts the entire vocal, the entire instrument, or just does what you said. With the dynamic EQ, it like automatically detects it for you and just engages when that particular sound is detected. So they both are special, and I use them all the time. So yeah, it engages in and off, on and off, on and off. Whenever the vocal is lacking, and let's say presence, or the high I mean is not there, or the low is not there, it's gonna engage. So it's like a command. I want you to work on this part. This is the part that I want you to work on, and once this part is lacking, I want you to engage. Once this part has more, I don't want you to engage. So that's one of the advantages of a dynamic EQ. So hopefully I hope that you guys start using dynamic EQ. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure